everyone, and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel and part 4 of the Fake It and Make It series. Today we're going to be sharing the Husband Chooses 4 Items challenge with you, where my husband is choosing 4 different items from my kit and I'm going to be making a scrapbook layout with them.
Hi everyone, Mr. C here. What I picked today to help with this layout is the Tim Holtz Distress Spray in Brush Pewter, the Heidi Swap Colour Shine in Navy, the Amy Tangerine Thicker Word, the Do Crafts Denim Twine Pack, and the chipboard embellishments that she has in her SOS items. The picture that she's picked today to scrapbook is one of our wedding from when we was cutting the cake. I kept saying for weeks before that I was going to when we cut the cake I was going to smash it in her face, but she managed to beat me to it and managed to get me quite good with the cake. I even got cake up my nose. So I'll send you back to her and you can carry on and enjoy the layout.
Okay, going on to the layout, what I've done so far is I've chosen my papers. I've chose 2 from the Maggie Holmes Balloon paper pad, a denim floral and a wood grain, and I've managed to trim down my photos. Originally they were 3 4x6 photos and wouldn't fit perfectly how I wanted on the layout, so I've trimmed them down and I'm now sticking the denim paper as a strip across the wood grain. As usual, I'm sticking those in place using double-sided sticky tape. I believe I save you the pain of watching me peel and stick them all, but I'm now going to try and line them up onto the paper. I always end up misjudging and having to trim something off of one side or try and cover something up, but I get it pretty perfect this time. I'm then going to go on to the first of the items that my husband chose, the twine. I decided to use both the navy and the almost royal blue colour, and I'm going to cut those into 3 strips for the top and 3 strips for the bottom. I'm using my paper and background as a rough guide for cutting my twine. I want it to overlap a little bit around the back, so I'm trimming those, and once I've done so I'm going to twist them together. I'm going to attach them to the background with a little piece of double-sided sticky tape in the middle, and then just using my ordinary stapler I'm going to staple both ends of the twine 3 times, and then I'm moving on to photos. Because I'm using 3 photos on this layout, I knew I wanted them to be almost in series. Luckily we have 3 shots that show the whole process of me smushing the cake in my husband's face and the reactions afterwards. So as I've trimmed them down pretty neat, I knew I wanted them to be the main focus. I decided that rather than matting them now, I've gone to work on my background and I'm using just my fingertips to apply some white gesso. I've tried various different techniques for applying gesso. I've tried using a scraper tool, a paintbrush, my fingers, using a baby wipe like Heber from My Little Journal, and I can never seem to get it quite right. For this one I didn't mind it being messy, but I find even with using gesso I get a lot of warping, so I tried to avoid that by putting on a pretty thin coat. I'm now shaking my 2 spray mists, and I did a lot of shaking off camera. I find, especially with the Heidi Swap Colour Shine, you have to shake them quite a while for it to fully mix, but I've done that and I've now got a spare piece of packaging. I think this is what one of my new stencils came in, and I've just sprayed that directly onto the packaging, mixed it up a little bit, and then I'm just simply picking it up and smushing it onto the background. When I'm using Heidi Swap Colour Shines, I like to build up my colour in stages. I find that because they're sheer, or to me they seem a bit sheer, I like to be able to build them up and get the colour or texture that I'm looking for. I'm then going to add some of the Tim Holtz spray as splatters. I made some quite large splatters which made a nice difference, and I'm going to set that to dry. So now I'm going back to my photos. I really wanted to use something that was subtle enough and not going to detract away from my background, so I decided to actually turn a pattern paper over and use the blank white side underneath just to mat them with a thin white edge. And of course those are being stuck down using just a few pieces of double-sided sticky tape to keep them in place. Once I've stuck all the photos down, I'm going to take my Fiskars trimmer and trim them pretty close to the photos. I don't know if it is just me, if I'm doing it wrong. I know I've mentioned it before, but I have terrible luck with my Fiskars trimmer. I always end up chewing up the edge of my paper or my photo, or getting some kind of nasty mess. So they are a little bit wonky, and I wasn't able to trim them down any further without losing a white border at all, but I'm not very happy with this trimmer. If you have any suggestions, please do leave them in the comments below. I'm in the UK, but I'm happy to shop worldwide. When I've placed the photos onto the layout, I decided I wanted a bit more dimension from them, so I decided to just take some foam. I'm just using, I think, some children's foam, and I'm roughly cutting them to size, and I'm going to use more double-sided sticky tape to stick the foam to the photo and then to stick the photo to the layout. I'm just double checking where I want the placement of the photos on the layout. I do decide to go with the straight across the middle and pretty evenly spaced. So I'm going to push those down onto the layout, and then it's going to be starting with the fun things, the embellishing. I'm now going to start looking through the chipboard embellishments, but also the word thickers. I wanted to find a title that was sweet but also funny, and I've used a lot of these stickers already, so I wasn't sure what would be left, but I'm going to have a look and see what I can find. While I'm looking through the stickers trying to find my title, I do toy with the idea of using a chipboard frame on the right hand photo. I will decide against it later on, but I did want to emphasise the moment in that photo and the look on my face. I'm now going to trim around the words I decided to use for my title so that it's easier for me to try them around a few different places on the layout and see what's working best for me. So now I'm going to go back to the chipboard embellishments. First of all, I'm going to choose this Maggie Holmes camera, and I'm going to get rid of some of the pink and red accents, and I'm going to just colour them in with a black permanent marker and add some distress ink in silver to make a lens. I'm then going to take this ampersand, and I'm going to take the black marker again and scribble that all over until it's coloured in, and this is actually going to make up part of my title. So I decided to go with the placement that I thought for my title, and I'm going to stick the ampersand down in the middle photo and then my two words either side. The title reads "Smile and Enjoy." Smile and enjoy the moments, but also smile and enjoy the cake that's now in your mouth and up your nose. Once I've got those words placed down, I'm going to, off camera, flip it over and trim off the excess that's hanging over the edge with my big scissors. I'm now going to start working on my embellishment clusters. I knew that I wanted to use the chipboard camera for the top, and I'm going to play around using some different embellishments with it. While I'm looking for embellishments to use at the top, I find this glitter chipboard heart that I want to use on the bottom left photo. It's the most sincere and proper photo of them all, and I thought it was a great place to add some embellishments. Next, I find this gold heart that says lovely on it, and at first I wasn't sure if it went with the camera or it fits with what I wanted for the layout. But I love the extra pop of gold and having that on a different place on the layout, and also the style that it brought in. I decided to pop the heart up on some foam so that it could sit slightly just above the camera. I did originally glue it on, but that just made a mess, so I went with trusty old double-sided sticky tape and a staple. I'm also going to add a staple through the ampersand at the bottom. I wanted it to be a little bit more stable and stuck down, as it wasn't very sticky and I couldn't get any tape or glue behind it. Now I'm going to add this gold glitter arrow to the top cluster. I love the way that it helps to draw your eyes down to the photos and is sparkly and gold as well. Now I'm going to add another heart embellishment to the bottom cluster. I'm going to use this one, which is by Create Paper. It's a group of pastel hearts, and then I'm going to add another gold one underneath the pastel one, and I like the way it flows down and it finishes off that corner perfectly. I'm now going to take my Heidi Swapp Colour Shine in Navy and add some splatters around both of my clusters. And then I'm going to do the same using my Distress ink. Once I've done that, I'm going to program my wedding date into my roller date stamp, and using some of my black StazOn ink, I'm going to repeatedly stamp both the wedding date and the phrase "Remember this" into the bottom right corner. And that's the layout finished. I'm going to show you that I used all of the items my husband chose for me. I used the spray inks for number 1, I used the chipboard embellishments for number 2, I used the twine set for number 3, and I used the word stickers for number 4. There are now some stills and close-ups coming, so please do watch for those. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video and the fact I used some different supplies for me. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and do subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more. I will see you next week with part 5 of the Fake It and Make It series.